Hi, in this video, I'll be demonstrating how to play back and download the recorded footage from your NVR or DVR or even camera, as long as the camera had an SD card for local storage. Right, so I'm going to be using the SmartPSS software, the software which Dahua provide for their NVRs and cameras and DVRs. And this is the home screen. And in order to play the video, I need to pick on the playback icon here. And if I click it, it brings up the playback menu, which looks like this. Now, just some things before I demonstrate that. The first one is make sure that your devices are on. For example, these have already been configured. Notice it is green. I have 2 NVRs and 1 camera. Now, that means using SmartPSS, you can connect to many different devices, cameras, NVRs, DVRs, and view the footage all in one place. Now, if I go to the home screen over here, another very important setting is over here in the settings gear over here on the top right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the base, and then I'm going to scroll down towards here where it says local path. And why I'm showing this is the default save location is important, especially if you are going to be downloading footage. Now, I've already set mine, and the reason why I've set mine specifically is because I don't want to download onto my C drive. Also, people or other users may not be getting full access to it. I may want to possibly put it on an external drive or a memory card or even a network storage drive. So the reason why I'm showing this is that you can go and quickly change the default path for your picture path, that's for snapshots, and then obviously for the recording path, that's for the larger files. Okay, so once you've set that up, now it's time to interrogate the devices in order to extract or firstly view the footage and then extract it. Right, so to view the footage, I click on playback. It'll bring up the playback screen. Notice that the NVRs are sitting over here. How I know they are NVRs is because it has a list of cameras which are connected to that one NVR. The one on the top here, notice that it is a single unit, and look at the icon. It actually shows me camera, while the one underneath, it looks like a server. Right, so in order for me to access the footage, I got to click on the channel that I'm interested in. Notice it says across road. Now, it doesn't stop me from viewing more than one channel at a time. I could click over here and say front door, and then I could click over here and say main gate, and I could actually get all 3 streams to be there concurrently. Now, for the meantime, I'm just going to do one. So I'm just going to do a crossroad in order to demonstrate how to interrogate the footage. Now, it's asking me the record type. Now, over here, it gives me a list of the different types of recording. So when you set up your camera or NVR or DVR, you would have selected the type of recording that you were interested in. Was it general, which means it records all the time between the start time and the end time that you have set, or 24 hours a day. And then it's got alarm record. Now, most people will be using the MD, which stands for motion detection, and some people will even use the intelligence or the IVS rules. And then it's got card reader. Now, in this case, I'm just going to leave it on all records, which means whatever is available will be streamed to my computer screen over here, and I will see the different colors. But in this case, I only have MD or motion detection recording, so I'm only going to see yellow on this time scale over here. Now it asks me about the time. Now, in this case, I have recorded footage for months back because there is quite a large hard drive in this NVR, and there are not many channels, and it's set to motion detection. So obviously, the less it records, the more days I can recall. So if I go to the month before, notice the blue dots are telling me that I can extract footage from any one of those days. I can go to September, then I can go to August, and then July is kind of where it's cutting off. So yeah, 27th of July. So if I wanted to see footage from the 26th of July, I would not be able to. So I'm just going to go to today's date, and then I just say search. Now what it does is it brings up the footage which is available. Now over here, I can scroll into the time scale, and I can scroll out of the time scale. The reason being is sometimes it's quite difficult to click on one of these small lines. So I'm trying to click on them, and yes, I got that one. But if I try and click on another one, But if I try click on another one, notice it's not actually that easy. So what I do is I scroll in with the mouse. So I'm using the mouse by scrolling on the roller, which now makes it easier to select any one of those motion detections. And then if I go over here, there's quite a lot of sporadic recording because there is quite a lot of movement in this street. Now, if you would like to watch the footage a little bit quicker, then what you can do is you use the slider here where it says 1 times, and then I slide it up and I can say 2, 4, 8. So you can see the car drove past there. It was very quick. So say for example, I'm going to speed this up. I'm going to now make it 2 times the speed. You can see this person walking there. I can even make it 4 times, and that makes it easy to review footage in a hurry. Right, so I can put this back to normal and press stop. Now, if there was audio available, there is an audio option here, and it gives you an option to set the volume. And on the side here, you've got the different screen layout. For example, you can actually view footage of more than one camera at a time, and all that happens is, if I'll quickly demonstrate it, if I go and I check the across road box, then I click on the next window and I'll say maybe carport, and I'll click on the next window and I'll say main gate, and all of them I will now say search. The time will be the same, and notice that each one of those videos, each one of those windows is now linked to its own timescale. So I'm going to make this just a 4-way window. So this was the across road because it's highlighted there. If I click on the other window, it says carport. Notice the timescale, the footage is different where it recorded. And if I click over here, this was the main gate. Notice the footage is different. Now, what happens if you wanted to download some of this footage? Right, so I'll briefly explain how to do that. Now, say for example, we wanted to download maybe 15 minutes of footage between 8 o'clock and 8:15. So let's go to 8 o'clock. There's 8 o'clock, and there is the footage, and notice the trees are blowing, and that's probably why it recorded. And they're asking you for the footage from 8 o'clock to 8:15. So the way to do that is on the side here, there's a scissors. So I just press the scissors, the clip or the cut option, and it'll immediately bring up a red marker, and there's actually another red marker if I scroll up. So now these two markers allow me to set the range that the SmartPSS is going to interrogate the saved data or the NVR to pull that data to my PC. So for example, if I want between 8 o'clock there, right, that will be 8 o'clock, and we said 8:15, so that's somewhere here. And as I move the marker, there's actually a timestamp over there and a timestamp over there, and even says the duration is 12 minutes and 26 seconds. The reason being, even though I've started it at 8 o'clock and I've ended it at 8:15, the reason why it's not 15 minutes is because of these gaps, because remember, it only set to record for motion detection. Right, so I've got my range here, and now I want to download it. So I press the cut button again, and then it brings up this export setup. Now, the reason why I showed in the beginning of the video the path or the default save location is now it becomes useful, because if you want to save this to a specific path, you can set it here, but it will automatically always go to the default path. So I like to use a dedicated drive or a dedicated folder for all the downloads. Now it's going to ask you the format. So we've got ASF, AVI, MP4, and then it says original format. Now I'll just tell you what I prefer is MP4. The reason why I prefer MP4, it is the most compatible and internationally recognized, especially when footage has to be shared on a drive and other people have to view it. I like MP4. Now, if you want to use the original format, it says Export SmartPlayer. It is also useful because it allows you to interrogate the footage almost how an NVR allows you to view the footage. I will still demonstrate that. So I'm going to download it firstly as MP4, and then I'll download it as original footage and also demonstrate how to use their SmartPlayer. Right, so I'm just going to say okay. It's asking me to stop the footage, and there it brings up the export progress window. You can see the status is shown over here, and it is busy downloading. Now, if I want to pause the download, I go here. But if I want to open the folder of where it is going to download it to, here is the folder. There is already another file sitting there, and it is busy populating or downloading this file as we speak. Now, I'll show you it once it is finished. Right, so it has now downloaded the file. If I show you the window, there it is. You can see the format, MP4 video file. And before I show you the video file, I just want to download the same footage, but now using the SmartPlayer option. So in this case, I'll have to go and reselect that footage. So I'll just start the play. So I'll just select somewhere, then I'll press cut. I'll just select the range. And now I'm choosing original format and I'm choosing the SmartPlayer. Right, so I'll show you also how to use the SmartPlayer. Right, so it has now downloaded the MP4 file, the application, the SmartPlayer, and then the file in the DAV format. Right, let's start with the MP4 file. So if I double click on it, it'll open with my default viewer, which in this case is VLC. And here is the footage, and it's pretty much like watching a video. I can just scroll through, and there we go. There is all the footage. And what's nice about it, this is a very common format, so you can also open it with Media Player Classic, whatever you prefer to use. Now let's look at the DAV option. It requires the SmartPlayer. So if I double click on the SmartPlayer option, now here it says the file types.dav doesn't associate to the program. Do you want to associate to it? Now you can say okay. Now that means that it's going to look for DAV files, and it's going to make a rule that if it's a DAV file, it will be now opened with SmartPlayer. So for example, if I now double click on the DAV file, it's bringing up SmartPlayer. Now what has happened here is it's bringing up another version of SmartPlayer. I actually have another version which I'll also demonstrate. So let's just use this one, and it says here plus, so I can actually just take this file and drag it here. So the file that downloaded, the DAV file, I just dragged, and remember the application was downloaded with the file. This is the light version of the application, and there is the footage. Now why I said that the DAV file is quite useful is, notice at the bottom it's actually giving me the time scale here. So why that's useful is if you've got a whole stack of recorded downloaded footage, the SmartPlayer makes it quite easy to interrogate lots and lots of footage. While if it's just MP4, it just plays it as a video. You get a little bit more usability when it's in the DAV format. As you can see, there are some controls here. When you've got a folder of lots of DAV files, you will notice that it gives you some more control. Now the SmartPlayer has some settings, and over here it says record format, DAV or AVI, and there are some settings here. For example, that video looked a little bit incorrect, so I've just changed it to 16:9 now, and if we now watch the video, that's a lot better. That looks better, it looks more true to life in terms of how it was recorded. So just check those settings when you do use a SmartPlayer. Right, now looking at another SmartPlayer. Now over here, this is called Toolbox. And if I double click on it, it brings up a suite of software. Now I got this from Dahua's website, and over here it says SmartPlayer. This is the full version of the SmartPlayer. So if you are interested in using the SmartPlayer as the default player on your computer, then you could download the SmartPlayer, and this is what it looks like. Now you will notice there are some other useful software here. Config tool, I've got some videos on that. And in this case, I'm just going to say SmartPlayer. I'm going to say open, and this is the full version of the SmartPlayer. It immediately went and looked for files, and one of the problems I have with this is I recommend that you go to settings, and before you use it, you choose the file association, because its default is all these videos. It is now going to associate all these files with SmartPlayer. So if you're not happy with that and you prefer to use your own video viewing software, then you might want to uncheck some of these and only use the ones that are for your camera footage, for example. Okay, now it says open file, and then from the drop down menu, notice that it gives me an option for all files. You see, this version is more powerful. So if I open the DAV file, then there is that same footage. So I can now use the SmartPlayer option, and then if I wanted to, I could also view the MP4 version. It also plays. For example, there it says .mp4 and there's the DAV, and notice how even here there's MOV, so it can play more formats. But in order to use a SmartPlayer, you'll need to download the full version from the Dahua website. Alright, so in this video I showed how to access the footage, how to play it back, how to download it, how to view the footage using third-party software. For example, this is VLC viewing the downloaded footage in the MP4 version, and then I also showed how to use the SmartPlayer and also how to set the file associations. Alright, so thanks for watching and cheers.